what time it is.
Bless up. Bless up.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo.
We are live!
Do it for Deuce and Mo.
Happy Wednesday nights. Better late than never. We said we will be live after every single Kings game. So you know what that means? We will be live. It doesn't matter how we get there, when we get there. We are live to talk about this Kings game. How we doing?
What up, Deuce?
Hey, what's up, my man? How are you, man? Everything
Hey,
good?
Morgan. I'm rooting for you.
Well, thank you. But what about the Kings? Let me know what you think about them, man.
Let's go, Kane.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Hey, Deuce.
What's up?
You know what I like?
What?
I really like sometimes not going right after a Kings game, even though obviously like we're not capable of doing that all the time. It's just like sometimes weird circumstances like tonight. And it just allows my brain to go, okay, don't let emotions just take over. And not to say that happens after every night, but it's just like a calming mechanism.
Try not to laugh at me, but try not to laugh at me.
What?
I'm done getting emotional.
Yeah.
All right. No, like the show.
No, you're so stupid. You're so stupid. That's so stupid. No, you're not. You're like, you are.
No.
You are like the epitome of emotions.
Okay. Excuse me for a second.
Okay.
I'm done letting a Kings loss dictate my. Listen to me. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth for 2 seconds. I'm done letting a Kings loss dictate how I feel about a podcast. The podcast should be fun, whether they lose or not. We should still have fun together. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. We're going to get mad. It's so fun.
False. You don't allow a loss or a win to dictate your entire mood. You have in the past, as of like a week and a half ago, allowed toxic communication.
I'm done. I'm good.
That's
man.
what I'm. That's
good.
Good, because like that never should get in your head anyway. It's like I just think about you if you were an athlete and playing, you would let that shit get to your head. 100%. You'd be.
I disagree with that.
Really?
I disagree with that.
So then, if you think you'd be mentally strong as an athlete, pretend that this is a game.
No. Here's the difference, though. And if you want to compare me to an athlete, I get it because I have a lot in common, right? High level, confident, outstanding. I kind of look athletic. I get all that. But my point
of this, athletic.
When athletes are on the court, they're not constantly looking at a live chat that's saying stuff. Okay? They're playing a game. When I'm doing like a play-by-play of a G League game, or if I'm on NBC Sports California hosting TV or radio, whatever I'm doing, I don't have a live chat in front of me. I just talk. I don't care. But I like engaging with the people. I'm a man of the people.
Okay, great. Now just make sure to not
That's
allow
why there's a reason they call me the PP.
That sounds.
The people person.
The pee-pee? No, that's weird, dude.
I'm a big pee-pee.
Go tell a kid they're calling me the pee-pee. I'm sure, parents will let you around their kids. I don't think so, buddy.
Okay.
Pee-pee?
She wants me to be emotional. People person.
Oh, God.
Just a big pee-pee, man. What can I say? How are we doing tonight? Appreciate you guys being here.
Oh, weird.
Well, it's better than last year when people were calling me Daddy Deuce.
Yeah, that's all of it.
Actually, kind of into that now.
Why? Why would you all of a sudden?
Like kind of badass. Daddy Deuce.
No. Still seems just as creepy.
Thank you so much for being here. Before we start the podcast, I do want to make a couple of notes. You're wondering, why are you on so late, Deuce and Mo? A couple of things. So Morgan was in San Francisco hosting pre and post. If you watch the game, you probably saw her with Kenny Thomas on NBC Sports California. I made a couple of cameos, some pre-recorded cameos.
I love that you call them cameos. Yeah, you were on.
Yeah. And then I was in Stockton for doing play-by-play for the Stockton Kings Oklahoma City Blue game. And so then after, back up by 5 to the capital city, and here we are live. And we're going to have that kind of same situation on Friday night, too. So we're going to be later on Friday as well.
Except it will be both of us in Stockton calling that game. So make sure to check it out.
Dave wants to know, who opened the door? I know everyone thinks there's like ghosts coming in and out. That's just dogs running back and forth behind us. Shout out to... should we go a little roll call before we
start? Give us a little roll call.
Okay, roll call. First things first, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. That helps us grow. Get the thumbs up going. Make sure to hit the subscribe button too. Let's give some love to the people, the hardcore of hardcore, who come here hours after a Kings loss, including David. We got Gravy, Edward, Jesus, Scotty C, Case, GG, Edward. We got Joe, Tony, AVP, Mark at Sack. Who else do we have? Arcos, Ghost. We've got Tay and Clint and Adrian. We've got David. We got Insane Cookies, Arj, Nick. Why not? He says, Nick says, Deuce, give Morgan a tentacle foul.
Oh, he means technical. That's one.
That's one. Fouché Shea in the building. What's up, Marley, Brad, David, Hector, Sergio's here with Brent and Steven, loyal Sac Kings fan. And whoa. For the first time in a long time, Leezy in the building? When's the last time you saw Leezy in the live chat?
I see him in person more than I've seen him in the live chat, so it's good to.
He doesn't always remember those experiences.
What do you mean? Oh my gosh! What are you trying to say?
Blacked out.
Oh my gosh! No, he's not. Leezy, don't let him talk about you like this.
Also, love to our friends over at Royal Rebounds. Check out their YouTube channel.
What's up?
Sato, David. Yeah, appreciate it. All right.
Give me a hell yeah.
Let's get started. Deuce and Mo podcast coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. Recording this late on a Wednesday night after the Kings started a 6-game road trip taking on a team that looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Kings go on the road. They hung tough, but ultimately the Bucks beat them 126-113. So the Kings' 3-game win streak has been snapped. Giannis with a monster night. Jrue Holiday was awesome. And the Kings have some things to work on before Friday's game against Cleveland. Hey, I'm Deuce. That's Morgan. How you doing, Mo?
I'm actually really good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi?
Hopes? No.
Hi.
Just like, you would think. I told Deuce tonight I've had the hardest time using my words. My brain has just been like in a fog. But no, I'm really good. And I know the Kings lost, but there was a lot of good things, again, to take away from this game. No moral victory stuff. It's just one of those things that you're seeing this Kings squad and you can actually be like, this is a good team. Like, you're seeing good things against a great team tonight.
Well, the Kings with the loss fall to 13-10. The Bucks 18-6, and they're 18-6 with Chris Middleton playing in like his 3rd game of the season. A lot to go over with this game. We'll go over some of the highs and the lows. I think my big takeaway from this game is simple. The Kings are a good team.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks are a great elite team.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the difference.
That is.
And ultimately, as the Kings try to grow and get better, these are the type of games you want them to win. But I thought they were in it on the road. They didn't play their best defensive game. De'Aaron Fox continues to struggle. Yet they were in the 4th quarter of this game, and it was a game.
And that's a huge angle right there. It's just with De'Aaron Fox. And you think about what he hasn't been doing for a big enough sample size now to look at him and go, okay, what's going on there? But you're still seeing that defensive effort there. You're still seeing him capable of doing things and even driving to the basket a few times on Giannis. But for this team to be able to still mostly have that identity that they've played with all season long, even when their star player isn't playing up to his abilities, it's a positive sign.
Yeah, and I guess we can start with De'Aaron. 15 points for him. He was 5 of 16, 1 of 6 from 3. He had 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and 32 minutes of action. And we're in an extended run here with De'Aaron where he just doesn't look like he's got that same pop, right?
Yeah.
He has moments in a game, and he had a couple of moments tonight. You referenced that one of the drives on Giannis, he got an and one. He had another nice take on him in the second half. But the explosiveness looks like it's not there right now.
Yeah.
I know that this team hasn't had him on the injury report, but he has said he's been banged up. Didn't really go into specifics. He said he dealt with an injury bug. I don't know why you wouldn't just rest him for the next game. And maybe that's not enough. Maybe it's not so, like one game's not going to do it. But I think if you're Sacramento and if you're De'Aaron Fox, you need to look at the big picture here. There is something good with this team. I think this team is going to be competitive this year.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs potentially if they can keep playing this way. But they can't if De'Aaron is this version of De'Aaron. And you can make the case. You sit him Friday against Cleveland. They don't play again until Sunday against the Knicks, right? Is that Sunday?
Wait, yeah, Sunday against the Knicks.
Okay.
So Friday and then Sunday. Yeah. Well, okay, I have a question for you. Do you think in some ways that De'Aaron is trying to learn how to play well through injury, through certain things not working with his body, or am I overthinking that?
Well, I think we're all also just sitting here playing the guessing game because we have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
We know the guy had a bone
enough.
bruise in his knee.
Yeah.
And missed a game and then came back.
Yeah.
Right? So, we don't know. I mean, we're kind of at a loss for what is exactly going on with De'Aaron Fox. And I just, I still think you're seeing glimpses, but they need him to be better. I mean, I'm taking a look at his game log here over this stretch. And tonight, 15 points, 5 of 16. Against the Bulls, 16 points, 5 of 14. Against the Clippers, 14 points, 5 of 12. Pacers, better, 19 and 6 on 7 of 11. 11 points against Phoenix on 4 of 12. Against Boston, he had 20, but it was on 6 of 17. The Atlanta game where he looked really tired, 18 points, 7 of 20. So, I mean, we're talking now, Morgan, about a 7-game sample size where it's not about like, oh, he's missing shots right now. You can get through it. It's like, oh, he doesn't look the same. Like, literally, like, it's not how he was playing at the start of the season in terms of that burst, that aggressiveness, the takeover. It seems like maybe he's trying to pace himself a little bit because he is fighting through something. I don't know what that is.
I was on a really cool Twitter Spaces, a lot of cool Kings communities that put together some things. And it was on my drive home from NBC Studios. And I was listening to them and what they thought about De'Aaron. And I heard someone talking a little bit about how, hey, is he getting the calls that he should be getting? Because I'm worried that he's going to get hurt if he doesn't start getting the right calls. And my whole point to this is, I think even the way that he's been trying to go through people on some of his drives to the basket has been a little bit different of how he tries to drive through the contact, how he takes the physical contact. It's just changed a little bit in these 7 games. And I'm sure that's altered the way that he's played a little bit, but maybe it's because he's not getting the calls that he needs. I don't know. It's just something else to look at when you're watching games.
And I would just make the case too, the Kings have shown the ability now through this 7-game stretch where he hasn't been quite himself, that they could still be productive and competitive and win ball games.
Yeah.
That's the great news.
Yes.
So having him rest a game, they may be okay. It could be okay, like long term. Even if look, the Cavs are a really good team. We'll talk about them later, but like you could still beat the Cavs without De'Aaron.
I would rather have De'Aaron take that much time off and be like, try to work his way back in it because it's like, oh, I've taken so much time off, rather than trying to fight through whatever's going on physically.
Also, the spaces you were in, Daily Sabonis on Twitter puts those on the Cowbell Talk spaces for those who don't know.
Thank you. Sorry for not having that exact shout out.
I mean, you should.
I know.
It's
Sorry.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it's just something to monitor as we go forward with the season, because it's, a couple of games. I never trip over a couple of games when a guy struggles, but similar to Keegan, where it's like, all right, Keegan struggled for a while now. What is he okay? Everything going on? Like, I know he's got a lot going on, the back thing, the family. What's he going to get out of it? Keegan's gotten out of it. Mm-hmm. And so we hit on Fox. I think the next positive we got to get to from tonight was Keegan Murray.
Hell yeah.
Keegan Murray looks more confident again. I thought he did a great job making plays on both ends. One of my favorite plays, he got Giannis on a pump fake from beyond the arc, drove in for a little jumper. That was nice. He finished tonight with 15 points. He had 4 rebounds on 6 of 10 shooting in 27 minutes. Remember last night, chat, I was talking about how, like, you know, I feel like Brown gets so caught up in his rotations at times, the timing of it, where if Keegan's going, I want him to stay in there to keep it going. Let him roll a little bit, because traditionally over this stretch, Fox and Keegan have been the first guys to the bench. And it's usually at that like 5 to 6.5 minute mark of the first quarter. Tonight, he let Keegan roll.
And
he let Keegan play because Keegan off to a nice start. He's playing confident. He was knocking down his shot. He was playing well defensively. He looked engaged. He let Keegan go until the 3:42 mark of the first quarter. That was a great,
really cool.
I love that.
No, and I love that we were talking about that, like you're saying the other night, and that coach trusted him to keep that flow going, to keep his confidence going, especially when you're playing such a good team like the Bucks. You got to make sure you keep things rolling when things are good, and that's exactly what Mike Brown did.
So I thought that Keegan Murray is a huge positive. This is now him stringing together more games in a row where he looks more like himself again.
That's it. Like himself. What we saw in the beginning of the preseason, right? Just more physicality, more confidence. Not only in
how about the jam he had?
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
Ooh,
not only in his shot, but the
jam.
way that he's taking it in too.
That was nice.
What was that face?
That was my Keegan jam face.
Oh, wow.
Let's go. It was nice. He was 6 of 10 shooting, by the way. He was also 3 of 5 from downtown for him tonight. So I thought that was good. I mean, ultimately tonight, I knew going in, I was like, well, just chalk Giannis down for 30 plus. It's going to happen. And Giannis tonight had 35 points, 9 of 10 from the line, 12 of 19 overall. But the guy that I think jumped out more than him, because you expect Giannis to do that. The Kings, everyone's like, the Kings need someone that could defend Giannis. Yes, 28 other teams need to find someone that can defend Giannis. This guy is a freak, and he's going to get his at times. Jrue Holiday was the guy tonight that jumped out to me because I felt like he imposed his will on the team. Jrue Holiday is obviously such a talented defensive player, but man, was he just physical on drives. And I know Giannis was gathering so much attention from Sacramento for good reason, but I thought Holiday took great advantage of that.
Yeah, he did a really good job of just understanding their game plan, executing the way that he was driving it into the paint, and also just finishing at the rim, and that's tough too, because when you have to pay so much attention, not only on Giannis, but also on someone like Brook Lopez, who can go off, especially the way that he can stretch the floor. And then the way that he comes in and can, this entire team, the way that the entire team gets their offensive rebounds, gets those second chance opportunities. You have to worry about so much. You have to worry about putting a body and where your guy is and being in help, while also trying to worry about Jrue Holiday, who can absolutely get his and get to his spots, and that's what he did.
But I thought at times it came too easy, and that's where the physicality has to be there. And that's the thing with the Bucks. Like, this is a team that you go up and down. I go, Jrue Holiday, that guy gets in the guys. He's physical. Grayson Allen, physical, borderline dirty.
That's fair.
Middleton plays a little bit of an edge.
And he's
Giannis,
a big guy, yeah.
Multi-time, all defensive dude. Bobby Portis coming off the bench. Javon Carter. Like, they've got a team full of dogs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Bobby Portis, I just think about alone. Every time I see him out there, I think someone had this tweet that Bobby Portis makes Sabonis look small. And I'm like, yeah, kind of.
He's just a big dude. And they crushed Sacramento on the glass tonight. And I thought that was the other key that jumped out to me tonight. The Kings have done such a good job with defensive rebounding. One of the best teams in the league. They're one of the best at limiting second chance points in the game. They're really good at limiting fast break opportunities too. But the second chance points, the Bucks had 25 second chance points. They had 17 offensive rebounds. I mean, you had Lopez had 6 offensive rebounds. I mean, is that right? Even Javon Carter had 3. He would get in there, get his hand on something, long rebound. 17-8 for offensive rebounds tonight.
Yeah, it was tough to see. And I think the Bucks just did a really good job of not only their timing, but you talk about the will and the want to get to that basketball on those O boards. That's exactly what they did. And to score 25 off of them, a lot of them were those putback jams, putback tip-ins, just being in the right spot at the right time. A lot of those opportunities came in the paint.
Appreciate everyone watching us live right now. I see the chat rolling through. Make sure if you're here, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It helps us grow so much. If you're on Twitch, you can follow us and subscribe as well. KO says Bucks are just much bigger and tougher. I mean, the size advantage was clear, and you knew that going into tonight. Although I thought Sabonis did a great job being physical. And I felt like at times against bigger guys, he doesn't impose his will enough. And Sabonis is a big, strong dude. Tonight, he did that. I thought he had a really nice game. 23 points, 12 rebounds, 7 dimes for him on 9 of 11.
Dude, he was just
and
shy.
A corner 3.
And a corner 3.
The
I
guy's
know.
hit threes.
It's fun to see, and I know there's other times that he's open from beyond the arc, but I'm glad that he's not just getting trigger happy and being like, okay, well, I've hit a few, so now I can just hit these. But it's that part of his game is developing, is hopefully going to, he's 26 years old. Like, it's hopefully going to become part of his game as he keeps going in this league. And it's fun to see that develop, but just shy of a triple double with only dropping 7 dimes. And really that goes to so many guys on this King squad tonight were not making their shots, but also a lot of open looks that just weren't falling for these guys.
I do agree with that to a certain extent. I do want to go over that a bit.
Sure.
Also on the chat, I wanted to get to Mark, who says there are few things in a basketball game more frustrating than an opposing team getting offensive rebounds. And I was frustrated during this game very often, LOL. Yeah, you think you're frustrated. It's so deflating for a team, especially if you have a good defensive possession and you force a miss. Right?
Gotta finish it off.
Gotta finish it off. And that is just crushing tonight. 25-second chance. You can't give the Bucks 5-second chance points. And what's so discouraging about it is I thought the Kings did a great job taking care of the ball, right? I mean, 8 turnovers. I was concerned about going into this road trip because they had been a little sloppy with the ball recently. We're talking about like 18 to 20 turnovers, and you're like,
against bad teams.
Yeah, you do that against the Bucks, they're gonna score like 800 points on you.
Well, and that's what I like. I felt like their focus, a lot of their focus was there. They were really paying attention to details, and they cared about all the little things because you understand you have to play that much better against a great team in the NBA. And I think they really took that on, did a great job with it, but at the same time, taking care of the ball, but then letting other little things like those offensive boards get out of reach, really not just crashing the boards on the defensive end, really crush them.
I do want to get back to what you were saying about some of the missed shots. The Kings tonight, it's weird to say this, they only had 19 assists, which is really low for them. I mean, they're pretty much at 30 every night. So 19 assists on 43 makes. I felt like Malik Monk, I give him a lot of credit because the guy came in and he brought the energy, especially in that second quarter. He had 14 points in the first half. 10 of those came in the second quarter, only 2 points the rest of the way. And I think, I don't know, sometimes you live with that with Monk, I guess, because he can get streaky. Tonight off the bench, he was 7 of 19, 1 of 7 from 3. I thought there were too many times where the Kings did the 1 pass and 3 or no pass and 3. And that's not in their DNA. Like, you got to move the ball around, get that Milwaukee defense moving a little bit. I know they stay locked into you, but you got to move the ball.
I think sometimes what it is when you're playing a really good or a bigger team, a tough team like the Milwaukee Bucks, it's like you're thinking, what's coming easy? What's the easiest thing I can do right now? Okay, it's to get this open look. Okay, I have this open look. Okay, I have it. Those open looks are there because it's not the best shot to take anyway. You know, and sometimes I know it feels like, especially for a shooter, especially for someone as confident as Malik Monk, that it would be the right shot, but truly getting a different flow to everyone touching the ball, to getting those paint touches can make everything so much better in a game. And that has been their identity consistently. And when they execute it, they just do so much better.
But to your larger point, they did miss some open looks, but I thought Fox and Monk forced some that were questionable.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly, like, even those being some open looks, the questionable open looks aren't always the best looks, right? Like, and it's because it's the first shot. You didn't even allow the defense to tire them out a little bit. And it's more because it's like, were you afraid to penetrate in the paint because there's so much of a presence with Lopez, with Giannis? Jrue Holiday obviously makes everyone's life a little bit harder along the perimeter. So whatever that was, that was the Bucks also doing a good job of taking them out of it.
So Morgan, you were saying we were talking a lot about the Bucks size, and we're talking about the rebounding and all of that. Someone in the chat was mentioning this, loyal Sac Kings fans. Do you think we should have played Alex Len in these bigger lineups? Were you surprised that we didn't see much of Alex Len or Rashawn Holmes just for additional size purposes tonight?
You know, when people say that, because I saw people also starting the tweets like, we've got to change things. You know, as soon as a loss happens, like, we got to make trades and change things. And
please give me the trade that's going to help you deal with Giannis.
No,
I would love to know
exactly.
that.
And I get it. Like, people are frustrated after a loss, whatever. But at the same time, I don't necessarily look at tonight's game and go, oh, Alex Len should have gotten those touches. I have seen it in different matchups where I do believe that is the right answer. You know, trust in him, give him, get him coming off the bench and getting those minutes.
I mean, also, I think sometimes with rebounding, we focus so much on the bigs.
Yes.
And like, dude, Javon Carter had 3 offensive rebounds tonight. Mm-hmm. Javon Carter's not a big dude, but he's strong and he wants to go get the ball. Like, let's look at Jrue Holiday today. Let's see here. 4 rebounds for Holiday, 4 for Allen, 5 for, Brooke Lopez only had 3 rebounds. I'm sorry. I'm looking at defensive rebounds. I'm a mess over here.
That's
sorry.
Okay.
Lopez had 9 rebounds, but Giannis only had 6 rebounds in this game. Middleton had 6. Portis with 5. Connaughton had 6. Carter with 5. Hill with 2. That's getting rebounding. That's getting after the ball.
Yes.
And there have been games this year watching Sacramento. There's a little too much ball watching, not worried about guys crashing the glass.
That's it.
And you saw that with the offensive rebounding tonight. You have to be aware that these guys are going to try to get this ball from you.
You know who does a pretty good job of finding their man and boxing them out, especially if they are told and understood that is their assignment, is Davion Mitchell, because he's just a smart, high Q defensive player that he knows if his guy is someone who crashes the boards, he's going to seek him out and make sure to turn and get a body on him. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's something you have to focus on. No, and it's a complete battle. And I think about people that are really good at this, and it's funny that I mentioned him. He's in Stockton, Chima Monecki, and he's just someone who has just incredible timing with rebounds, and it's just his effort and that ability to understand where you have to be in the right time.
He's
third
in the G League right now in rebounding.
Okay.
About 12 a game, 13 a game. I think tonight he had like 14 or something.
See, and my whole point is exactly, it's not all about just getting those big bodies in there. It's about all those other things to crash the boards as well.
Yeah, it just the focus has to be there. I mean, and it's something. I mean, we were watching that video from Jay Triano that the Kings put out yesterday, that preview of the run, and that was like one of the things they were talking about is like there's this mannequin where they did a simulation where the mannequin was in this one point in the paint, and they did a simulation around that, and that person in the paint just got 10 rebounds by standing there, and his point was this mannequin has no heart. This mannequin's got no effing brains. And he got 10. Well, we're coachable. We got brains. We got toughness. We got heart. Like, let's improve that. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that this Bucks team is just really long and big and physical. And this is a good lesson, and they have to be better in that regard if you're going to compete with the best of the best in the NBA.
Yeah, I look at a game like this and I go, okay, how can you grow? What lessons can you take? How can you grow from losing to a team like this. I felt that same way, especially after Boston. I think that loss was a little bit more disappointing on how they lost that one. But because Boston is such a good team, I go, okay, how do you grow? This game, they showed that growth. The way that they competed all the way through, almost through every single possession, I was really impressed with so many things that this Kings squad did, how they adjusted things. But yeah, the Bucks did a great job of adjusting things as well.
Out of all the teams the Kings have faced this year, the Bucks are the most impressive to me.
How come?
Because they can do it defensively. They've won a championship, of course, right? But they've done it defensively, but they are so unselfish. They will make the extra pass. They play team basketball. And they've got a great player in Giannis, obviously. He's probably the best guy in the league at this point.
Yeah.
And he's scoring. He's the most points per game he's ever scored in the NBA, which is crazy to think about. And I'm like, even the assist tonight. 6 assists for Middleton, 7 for Giannis, 3 from Lopez. Allen had 4, and Holiday was 6. So 3 of your 5 starters had 6 or more assists. They had 34 in the game. And how many times, especially on offensive rebounds, was that ball just being moved around? It's getting the Kings trying to react and recover. And then they get open looks from 3, and they knock down 14 of 33 from 3, where the Kings were 12 of 38.
Yeah, they tire people out on both ends of the floor. And it's just, they do a lot of things great. And they have a lot of really good pieces, a lot of really good weapons. And even when everyone isn't clicking, there's just guys that can step up and take it to another level. Their style of play, the philosophy this organization has. It makes a lot of sense why they're that good. But damn it, Deuce, I just love that we get to talk about the Kings competing against a team like this, because I think you and I talked about this the other day of just how many times last season it was like, what can you even break down?
Yeah.
You're just disappointed in effort and all these things. In this season and in a game like this, we actually get to talk about what went wrong, what went right, and there is a lot of both.
Yeah, there was good and bad. The other thing too, we talk about the Kings only with 8 turnovers. Milwaukee had 7 turnovers, and it only turned into 4 points. So
that was another thing too, when we were talking about Keegan Murray and just everything he was doing on the offensive end, and you talked a little bit about the defensive end. He had 2 blocks and a steal as well.
Yeah.
And I just think
I'm telling you, he had some nice tip outs on rebounds. I've been really impressed with what I've seen with it. Like, you're seeing what we saw in the beginning of the year a little bit again. And I'm encouraged by the shot making, but I'm more encouraged by him just looking just comfortable again, right?
Agreed.
He had a couple of games where you're like, oh, he's totally lost confidence. Now it's no problem. Actually, I was talking to Chima Monecki. So I was watching this. So before the Stockton game, it's like an hour and a half before the game. And I'm sitting watching my YouTube TV, watching the Kings game. And Chima comes over to watch the game with me. And we were talking about, he's like, oh, who's doing well? And I was like, oh, Keegan's off to a nice start. He goes, that guy just won't ever get rattled. I was like, really?
Wow.
Yeah, he goes, he just, it doesn't faze him. He goes, he could be 0 for 20 and he's not, it will not faze him.
Wait, that's the coolest combo that you had.
He just said that. Yeah, I know it wasn't really peppering him or anything. We were just watching the game, which was kind of cool. He just came over. He's like, oh, what's the score? He comes over and watches for a minute.
That's so great.
But yeah, he was really like praising Keegan.
And what I love is that Keegan has talked about that about himself as well. And it's like,
and that's the other thing he said. He goes, God, I wish I had that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same.
That mindset.
Same, Chima. Same.
We did not get a chance to hear Mike Brown's press conference after the game because a lot of times we don't get to hear him on the road, right? But the Kings posted Mike Brown's press conference today, and I wanted to hear a bit of it. I want to hear if he's asked about De'Aaron Fox and just what he thought about the game, and then we can react to it. Here's Mike Brown post-game after this Kings loss in Milwaukee. Let's get to it. Coming down now.
Give Milwaukee, Coach Bud, and the Bucks a lot of credit. They played a very good game. What's disappointing for me is this is one of the first times I felt we played a game and our opponent dictated from the beginning of the game how the night was going to go. And I didn't think they felt us at all defensively. It was almost like our defense was almost like a glorified scrimmage game or pickup game. Milwaukee went where they wanted to go. They did what they wanted to do. Offensively, we didn't do a good job communicating. We blew a lot of assignments. I mean, it's a 2-point game. At one point, we blew 2 or 3 assignments in a row to where they stretch it to a 10-point game. But, having said that, if we would have won, we would have stole the game the way that we played. This one, like I said, it was tough to swallow just because they didn't fill us from the start nor throughout the course of the game. And I think we're better than that. But you got to give Milwaukee and Bud and his staff a lot of credit for coming out there and taking it to us.
Mike, this is 6 or 7 games now where Fox hasn't really looked quite like himself. What are you seeing there, and what is he dealing with anything physically right now?
I don't think he is. I know everybody at this point in the year is dealing with bumps and bruises and cuts and nicks and all that other stuff. But I don't know. You would not that I know of from our medical staff. You would have to ask Fox. He's been really good for us the last 3 games, setting the tone defensively especially. He can score. I'm not worried about him scoring the basketball. I just want him to continue setting the tone from the beginning of the game on the defense end of the floor because on the road against good teams, 113 points, and we missed a few shots here and there. That's enough to keep us in the game. But we all have to get stops, and a lot of times it starts with him. He's ahead of Snake.
Mike, offensive rebounding. Did you guys not do something correctly, or is just when they get you in rotation, just their size, just too much?
At the end, we started running around because we were down, and they got a couple because we were running around. But throughout the course of the game, that's part of the my bads I'm talking about that we heard from guys individually. We just had too many of them from too many different guys. Guys just didn't box out. The long shots, we know if they hit the rim, it's going to be a long rebound. So I can't turn around and start walking to the rim to get a rebound. I have to check my man and go out towards my man to rebound the elbow areas, because if you think of it, there were a lot of rebounds there throughout the course of the game. At the end, Brooke, because we were rotating, Brooke got 2, I think, size-wise. But we just have to do a better job with the little things when we play a great team like Milwaukee, especially on the road.
Second from left.
Coach, I think this is about 8 straight 30-point games for Giannis, and it feels like he can just kind of do whatever he wants on the offensive end. Now, I'm curious, what do you see from him now compared to earlier in his career that allows him to do that?
I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he's arguably the best player in the league. Some people say that, but it's tough. I mean, he runs over Davion Mitchell, and there's no call. And if that's going to happen, we got no chance to guard him, and not many others have a chance to guard him because of his greatness. And now he's able to do that. There's nothing we can do except hope and pray.
And then you talked about the size and the physicality, I guess specifically the physicality before the game. It sounds like you think your guys didn't quite rise to meet that challenge.
No, we didn't rise to meet the challenge tonight. And like I said, this is probably the first time we didn't. They didn't feel us at all. Not at all. From the beginning of the game throughout the court. They did a couple of times in spurts, but a great team like that on their home floor, it's got to be a dogfight. And it was not a dogfight. It was just a basketball game.
All that said, you're within one. You came back from multiple double-digit deficits, get within one in the fourth. Is there anything encouraging you take away from the fact that you're playing a great team like this, and at a certain point you still had a chance?
Well, what it does show is that we're capable. And that's about it. It shows that we're capable of doing it, but we can't wait until the fourth quarter to try to, in spurts, string some stops together and make them feel us. We have to do it from the beginning versus a good team like that. And now you're down the stretch. Maybe you have some momentum or some juice, or the shots that they get that may be open at times, because teams are going to get open shots throughout the course of the game. Maybe those don't go in because they had to work, a lot harder throughout the course of the game.
Regarding Terrence, he was held out again tonight. Is there what's the level of concern that might be an injury that keeps him out for a little while?
I don't think it's a high level of concern. I know he got checked out, and our medical people think that eventually he's gonna be okay. Obviously he's gonna continue maintenance with it, but I have not heard anything. I just heard tonight was the night he's out.
Wow, that was probably the most frustrated I've heard Mike Brown as head coach of the Kings with his team. We've heard him upset with the officials before.
His standards are so high. And
he's a competitive dude, and I
love it.
I like it too.
I really do.
Don't just go, hey, good job, good effort. Like, we have standards, and we can play better than this. I love that.
And you know what I love too, from the outside perspective, people who were not coaching these practices, we're not in there seeing these guys every single day like he is, and so his expectations are what he knows these guys are capable of doing, where for us sometimes, like when I look at this game and I look at all the things I'm proud of and happy and excited for this King squad, I don't think it's because I have low standards. I think it's more because I haven't seen it against one of the greatest teams in the NBA yet. Mike Brown feels like he's seen it and knows his team is capable of actually executing it.
So they did not feel them at all, except some spurts in the fourth quarter, and that was too late. He did not like that. They got whatever they wanted. The other thing he was asked about was De'Aaron Fox, and we're so curious about that. I mean, look, he said he's fine.
And he said that last time, too.
He said everyone's kind of banged up, nicked up at this time, but he's fine. And he said he's got to provide what they need defensively. He's not worried about the offense.
Which is fair.
And I agree with what he said the last couple of games, because I think Fox actually played well.
I know.
He's still helping the team in some way, where back in the day when he scored 15 points on 5 of 19, you're going, well, he's not really playing defense either. He's really hurting you.
Yeah.
But tonight, there were Holiday did some damage tonight. Holiday got his tonight. So I don't know, man. I mean, I just hope if the medical staff says he's fine, he's not showing up on the injury report, then he's just battling through it. And if he needs a day, give him a day or something, because they need a better version of him offensively.
That's it. Because what I will say is that now that we saw a big enough sample size too of De'Aaron Fox playing at the level that he was playing at, especially on the offensive end, especially with that explosive step, with that bounce that we're talking about, we saw that consistently. So our expectations are he needs to get there again, especially offensively, because slumps are okay. They're going to happen in the NBA for every single player, sure. But with De'Aaron, it's a little bit triggering too, because year after year, going in now his 6th year in the NBA, we saw those times when we'd see those flashes, only flashes, and then he'd go back to what he was. Where now you're seeing it different though. He doesn't go back to a bad, sorry game or something like we used to see. It's more like, okay, he's just not contributing as much, and they have a good enough identity and squad to contribute there, and he's still setting a tone defensively. We just know and want to see him play at that all-star level.
And that explosiveness he was playing with at the beginning of the year. Just on it, getting to his spots, mid-range, three-point lane, attacking at the rim.
Yeah.
There's not as much attacking at the rim at this point. There's a couple times today, like we kept referencing the two he had on Giannis. That one, I'm like, how did he get that up over Giannis? But it doesn't have the same pop right now.
Sure.
And if he physically can't give that, I would recommend, like, hey, give him a few days off, dude.
I'm not a doctor, but
I mean, that's if he needs some rest. I mean, guys, look around the league. Teams do it all the time with sit guys all the time for rest.
Yeah.
And if he needs that, if that's what it's going to take to get him going a bit, you need the De'Aaron Fox we saw at the start. I'm not saying you need the 25 a game, but you need that explosiveness because of what it does to opposing defenses when he's getting inside the paint. The Kings want paint touches. Fox can provide that when he's on and is aggressive.
It just creates so much of a different game, so much of a threat. What'd you think of Mike Brown talking about the defense being a glorified pickup game defense, or however he put it into words?
Yeah, I mean, I just also think, like, he has high standards for sure for his team, and the Kings have been trending in such a better way defensively. I mean, you look at what they did coming into tonight. They were 18th in defensive rating. In the last 10 games, they were 11th, I believe. I have the notes in front of me. That's a turnover. I should have just known this. Sorry, last 15, they were 11th. Last 10, they were 5th. And the last 5, they were 4th in defensive rating coming into tonight. But I think it's just when you're taking on a team like this, it's really hard. And you could talk about playing physical, but this team is in
But
you,
see,
man.
and that's his point, though, of a team like this. The thing that you have to up because you
got to make them work.
You have to bring on a different type of physicality, just a different tone of perfect basketball. And that's what they did by taking care of the basketball. That's what he meant by doing that there in attention to detail. But he wanted it everywhere. He wanted it with their physical play. He wanted it with the way that they would scout out a guy and go meet them before the rebound, before the guy would crash the board and get the board and get the rebound.
The fourth quarter was rough too. 29-19, but the Kings were 7 of 20 shooting. They were 0 for 7 from 3 in the fourth quarter.
That was a tough fourth quarter to watch. It was tough. I mean, Bucks really turned on the MF and Jets, but
They did.
Kings also just couldn't get things going.
Next up for the Kings. Just the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was watching their game last night against the Lakers. They beat the Lakers. Anthony Davis started the game, left with flu-like symptoms. Donovan Mitchell and company take over down the stretch, close well. They win. The Kings beat them earlier this year, and that was a game in which Donovan Mitchell had 38 points. The Kings ended up putting up like 127 on him. One, they remember that. Two, this team is the best home team in the NBA. They were 11-1 at home, and coming into tonight, they were number 1 in defensive rating in the NBA.
Oh, damn.
I do think the Kings, going back, I watched some of it today, that first matchup. The Kings did such a great job attacking the paint, knowing that Allen and Mobley are going to be there, but making sure to kick it out and get that ball moving all the way around. They knocked down a lot of shots in that game.
Yeah, so shots were flowing. They were going in. But also that's because they're playing the right style of offense, the offense that they started off playing in the beginning of the season. And that was getting those paint touches. That was moving the ball around. That's not taking the first shot. It's taking the best shot. So they really just have to remain patient, keep taking care of the basketball. You look at a defense like that, you have to play the right type of offense. Plus, on the defensive end, how about you get your steals? But you're playing against a team that's, I believe, 10th in offensive rating in the NBA. So they're also a good offensive team.
They're a good team. They're absolutely, I mean, they just have a lot of weapons. Okay, guys. Sorry, we're just talking about this, and I just got distracted. Hold on. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to go to it.
I think he's sleeping.
No, he's not.
Oh.
Hold on. Nick?
What's up, Deuce?
Okay, we could barely hear you.
What's up, Deuce? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, why do you have the phone inch from your face?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Hey, Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Deuce said, I heard Deuce said, I got to go pee-pee.
No.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's what you guys said.
No, that's not what I said, Nick. What? Anyway, what's going on, man? What's on your mind?
Well, we lost tonight. We should have won this game, Morgan. I know you did a good job on NBC Sports today. I saw you on TV today, Deuce. Hey, you did good on there.
Wow.
Thanks, Nick.
We both did good. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.
Why not be on ABC Sports, Morgan?
Why not be on NBC Sports? Why not, Nick?
I saw you and Kenny. Is you and Kenny going to be on there Friday?
Nope, it will be Kyle and Kenny.
So I thought you were going to be there for 4 games.
Nope, that's next week, Nick.
Yeah, 4 games on the road trip. All right, Nick. What? Come on.
Hey, but the Kings need to win on Friday against Cleveland.
They do. It's going to be a tough one. If you were a coach going into the locker room, Nick, what would you say to your team?
Go out there and play defense. We got to play better.
Nick, are you falling asleep?
No, I'm not. I'm good.
No.
We got to play better. And also, next Wednesday is my aunt's funeral.
Oh.
Auntie Toots's funeral is next week on Wednesday.
Okay. Well,
and you know, she was a nice lady, and I do miss her. And I do miss her her cooking night. She did used to cook raviolis. I do like raviolis.
Aww.
Nick, we already talked about your aunt last night, chat, and we talked about her raviolis. Why are you talking about it again?
Because you're half asleep.
Yeah. Hey, and Morgan, hey, why not like to be on Friday?
Yeah, why not? Why not wear a shirt to bed?
Why not?
All right, sleep dreams.
Sleep dreams, Nick.
Sleep dreams, Morgan.
Sleep dreams, Deuce.
Why not light the beam?
Why not light the beam? Sleep dreams.
All right,
the kid that just keeps going. Good night.
Good night,
kid. Hey, wait. Sing me one more bedtime song.
Naked Nick returns. That was great. He's still trying to talk. No, Nick.
No, go to bed,
Go to
Nick.
bed, Nick. You're gone. Sleep dreams. Oh my God. What a wild night in the NBA. And also, the Kings are 13-10 now. Do we want to hear a little Sabonis from tonight? Is it like 3 minutes of Sabonis?
Yeah.
Let's hear. We didn't hear any Sabonis tonight. I want to hear what he had to say after this Kings loss to Milwaukee.
Those guys have, and he didn't feel like you guys did enough to match that. Is it? I mean, it's easier said than done, probably, right?
Yeah.
That's tough for you to match physicality.
Yeah, I just felt like from the jump, there wasn't much energy in the building, and both teams, were kind of going through the motions. So it was really an opportunity for us, to play our game, be physical, and try and steal one here.
Did you feel good about the way you guys were playing at any point in the game, or did it just?
No, I definitely feel like we did a lot of good things. Missed some shots, in the fourth quarter where it mattered. Some defensive assignments weren't. We couldn't get them done at the end. On some double teams with Giannis and stuff, and then there was a couple of big offensive rebounds at the end there where I had to rotate because we're doubling Giannis, and that's where I feel like we could have been more physical.
How about him? What kind of a matchup? I know you know him well and have played against him many times. That to have that kind of size and speed and athletic ability, what's he like to go?
Yeah, of course. Especially in transition. He attracts double teams. He has shooters all around him. So it's a 5-man defense. It's not just one guy. We got to help the guy guarding him, and then we all got to spray out and take away shooters.
Any concern with De'Aaron? This is like 6-7 games now where, you know, the shots just haven't really fallen for him at the same rate. What do you see him going through right now?
Nothing. You know, he's taking good shots. You know, they're open shots. They're rhythm shots. They're his shots that he's been taking. You know, we just gotta keep getting him good looks. You know, he's putting in the work after practice. You know, getting more shots and stuff. And I'm positive next game he'll shoot well.
So there's Domantas Sabonis.
I love hearing him when he talks about teammates. I just think he's such a pro.
He does not like talking to the media much, but
you mean just with his answers, just kind of like short to the point.
Here's what you know about Sabonis. He's going to be in and out in about 3.5 minutes. He talks really fast.
Yeah, but I also appreciate it. It's like pretty much straight to the point. It's not all super generic. I mean, like some you get generic. But
I'm not ripping him. I'm just saying it's
no.
But I mean, he's obviously not concerned about Fox. What's he going to say? Yeah, I'm actually deeply concerned, and I actually think he might be banged up. I think we should sit him.
I don't know. I just think the way that he talks about teammates when he is asked, I think he does a really good job.
Shout out to Kessie, who just gifted 5 subs on Twitch. Appreciate that, Kessie.
Thanks,
One
Kessie.
of our OG podcast listeners going back a long time. Let's go next to Heath. What is up, Heath? Heath, I hear you're rustling around, man. Heath. Heath gone. Get it?
No,
I did want to get your thoughts on this.
Oh, yeah, I was going to mention this.
I want to know how Kings fans felt about this. So tonight at Milwaukee's arena that they call Bootleg Golden One Center, I think.
Oh!
Because they tried to rip it off, but it didn't really work out too well. Anyway, on the big screen tonight, they did this like animation with a green beam coming from Pfizer Forum to kind of troll the Kings because the Bucks beat the Kings tonight. So they launched their own beam. Morgan, how do you feel about this petty behavior? Do you think it's funny or do you thumbs down?
It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's...
Can I be honest?
I already
Can I
know.
be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
It doesn't bug me. It doesn't bug me.
But
I feel like trolling the Kings is a little weird. Like, out of all the teams, like, they're kind of a fun story. They're 13-10. I feel like if the Warriors had a beam and you beat them,
troll the shit out of them.
You know, like these teams that are like traditionally good, but doesn't it feel like they're punching down a little bit? Like, really?
You know what? It's like Kings to me, obviously this season, it's like, oh, they are a good team. But that's the thing. They're a good team finally. They're a good team finally after 16 years of hell. And they're finally having that story and that joy and that charm. And it's like, why are you shitting on that charm, man? Like, you kind of like it. You kind of like it. But yeah, it honestly really doesn't bother me. I just think it's funny.
Brad says lame. KO says, oh, F them. Leezy says copyright infringement. These kids in Sacktown, garbage. Donald James, our beam is real. Jake thought it was funny.
I mean, I didn't think it was funny. I just didn't. It's just like, what?
Frank Cruz says, I like it.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
See,
fun.
there you go.
That's fine. And I'm, again, not angry at all, but.
No, but I understand but.
That's all I had to say about that. Also, Steve Kerr was asked about Mike Brown, Morgan.
Ooh.
This was yesterday, I believe, and he was just asked about the Kings and Mike Brown. You want to hear what he had to say?
Mike is just killing it. You know, that team is so well coached and well put together. It all clicks. I mean, when we played them early in the season, you could see it was coming together. And, you know, by the time we played them the third time, they had already formed an identity playing through Sabonis with all that three-point shooting, but really executing. They do a lot of good stuff offensively that Mike and his staff have put in, and that the players are really executing well. And so they're having a great season, great start to the season, and happy to see that for Mike and LB and their staff. You know, Mike has been interviewed a few times over the years, and I always told him, as long as I was here, he had a job next to me for for life as long as I was here because he suited me perfectly, and we were so close. We've known each other for so long now that I was thrilled for the opportunity that he was getting, and then immediately I was thinking, how am I going to replace him? Because he was that valuable to me in a lot of different ways. But just thoroughly enjoyed working with Mike for, I think it was 6-7 years. But I knew it was just a matter of time before he got another chance, and he's making the most of it.
It just warms my heart. It does.
No, I know. It's cool to hear Kerr say that one, and Mike Brown is doing a great job. The more I, watch Mike Brown, just even listening to what we played tonight, his post game, it was clearly like he's got standards. He's frustrated. Now I'm like, I'm eager to see how the Kings come out on Friday. Like, are they going to come out with a little different edge? What's Fox going to come out? Because I felt like even tonight when they asked about Fox and his situation, Brown downplayed it. Like, no, but he needs to be better defensively.
Yeah. No,
he's done some nice things defensively, but
I feel like when Brown talks like this about his team too, they care about responding. They care about, it's not about like making him proud. They care about the work that the work, the love that he puts into them, and they want to give it right back.
Yeah.
With executing what he's teaching them. And so, yeah, you could only hope that you see the response in physical play on Friday.
Also cool to hear Reggie Miller give the Kings some love last night on the TNT broadcast. They were talking about Jokic's passing, and Harlan brought up Arvydas Sabonis, and Reggie was quickly to bring up, but Domantas Sabonis is pretty good in Sacramento too, and he's talking about light the beam, and hey, Mike Brown's doing a hell of a job. Hope they keep that rolling. Kings also made an appearance on Shaqtin' a Fool TD with his pass into the crowd, and they joked about the beam. I did want to mention this, looking at the standings in the NBA. The West, this is just crazy. There are now, after Minnesota beat the Pacers tonight, there are 11 teams at 500 or better in the West. 11 teams.
That's insane. It's just like when you look at this, because we showed the Western Conference standings before, and it's Kings were in that 4th spot, and it's fun to see. It's fun to see because look at all the times when the Kings were all the way at the bottom that it was just depressing, and it's like we would just talk about how depressing it is. So you can celebrate some of this success even if it's still so early on.
I think the biggest early season takeaway for me is looking at the West and going, I don't know who is the favorite, because it seems like when you start to believe, like there was a stretch, I'm like, man, the Suns, they're starting to figure it out. Chris Paul will be back soon. Boston destroyed them tonight. Boston was up 40+ at one point, just demolished them.
Really?
In Phoenix. I'm like, that's crazy.
I didn't see.
The Suns never get down by 40+ in a big game at home. When does that ever happen?
Hey!
They lost tonight 125-98 in Chris Paul's return to action, Morgan.
Ooh, things are not cute over there.
Tatum had 25 in 29 minutes. Brown had 25 in 28 minutes. Just absolutely demolished them tonight in Phoenix. A nationally televised game for them.
Wow. Booker held to 17.
And then like last night, I was watching Dallas, Denver, and Dallas ends up. I mean, Dallas is a weird team too when I'm looking at, because I haven't liked how they played. And it's been pretty much all Luka all the time. And now this like last 4 games, Tim Hardaway's knocking down his shot again, which has been huge for them. They look like a mess in this Knicks game I was watching. And then they have a monster third quarter. And since then, it's been nice. They got a big time road win against Denver. And I'm watching Denver going, I can't buy this team. Like Jokic is good, but Murray's still not Murray yet. And where was Michael Porter last night? You know what he was wearing? Street clothes, because he's hurt.
I know. And that's tough. And that's tough to see with Denver. But going back to Dallas, because even the other night, you're exactly right. When we were talking about them after the Knicks game, I was just like, I don't know. This style of basketball, can it last? But here's the thing. Every single time that they win with that style of basketball, with having their number one guy, just be so dominant, be ball dominant, be able to create and just accomplish so much on the floor as an individual. It's like, when do we stop and go, but this style isn't a championship style, but this style isn't going to get you past this first round or the second round of the playoffs? Like, when are the Mavs going to start asking that question? What year is that going to be, Deuce?
Well, they need more help for Luka.
They do.
Sure. And they're getting it recently from Tim Hardaway. I just don't know how sustainable it was. Jason Kidd had an interesting thing he said after the game the other night, because they've won 3 in a row. And people are like, wow, have you guys figured it out? Here's what Kidd had to say.
Yeah, it's a marathon. People have to understand you don't win an award for the first 20. You get to learn about your team. You get to learn about each other. And then again, we're going to be judged publicly every night. And so that just comes with the territory. But internally, we truly believe we're going in the right direction. It's making a couple open shots here, getting a couple rebounds there, puts us in a different space in the sense of feeling good. But you got to play all 82. This is a different team than last year, and we're starting to come together. We talked about we've been healthy. We talked about, you guys get a lot of questions about minutes. It's hard. So Twitter's a hell of a coach.
It's interesting, like what he's saying though is so true. Is I do think we all are guilty of it as sports fans, basketball fans. The overreactions based on 5 games, based on 3 games, based on 10 games. And for a lot of these teams like Dallas, they've had a significant change. Like losing Jalen Brunson for nothing is a huge loss. And they added Christian Wood, but Tim Hardaway was hurt to start the year. They're going, we're not playing our best, but we don't even know each other yet. It's 20 games in. They got off to a slow start last year too. And I think we all have to do a better job, of just exerting some patience just in our sports fandom.
No, and it's fair. And I think sometimes, though, it's absolutely fair. When you see flaws drastically go from one way to another, just like we did from the Knicks to, you could even say the Denver game the other night, whatever game you want to pick, whatever win you want to pick for the Mavs. You understand teams are going to fluctuate and have those weird nights. Look at the Suns tonight, but then you have Booker, who had a streak of 40-something plus in how many games? I get all of that. I just think when I see teams with their flaws and I look at their goals of what they're trying to accomplish in a postseason, that's when I go, that style of play, think about what defenses do in the postseason and how different the assignments are. And if you stop the head of the snake and that's a team's complete identity, then they're not going to get over certain humps.
I am not sold on Dallas at all as a team.
Prove me wrong.
It's a team that relies heavily on 3-point shooting, and I don't think they have enough 3-point shooting.
Fair.
Right now it's working.
Yeah.
Hardaway's knocking down shots. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about crazy numbers. He's in 8 in a game and 6 in a game.
5 and a quarter.
Watching their style play, I don't think it's conducive to long-term winning, and I think they're going to need to add to really get the most out of Luka as a player, because Luka is obviously tremendous. He gets numbers. He gets awesome numbers, and he's a great player. He does a lot of awesome things out there. He needs more help around him.
And then Christian Wood has obviously been this good addition, but not a great addition. I look at what he's done on the offensive end, but then the defensive end is where
it's not just defensive. It's his attitude, Morgan.
Okay.
Christian Wood.
Christian
Wood, there is a reason he's been on a lot of teams. It's not because of his talent. The guy's talented.
Mm-hmm.
You see him score in bunches. The kid has a standard defensively, and it's not met by him all the time. And there is some effort things with him at times. He's a tough guy to play with at times. So that's what you look at. I mean, I guess my whole point is looking at the West. We're just spending some time on Dallas, but even looking at the 10 teams that are technically in, I mean, if you counted it, the number 1 seed after tonight, it's the Pelicans.
Dude.
And Brandon Ingram hasn't been healthy. Like, this team is frightening. It is. Zion is scary.
Brandon Ingram's, is he healthy now?
He's missed some time.
I know he's missed like 8 games, and I think Zion has missed like 6 on the season. And
no, Ingram's been missing for a minute now. And CJ missed time.
More?
So Zion, yeah, they won the other night against the Pistons, 104-98. Zion 29-10-5. But
Jeez.
yeah, no, Ingram's been out, and that's I think the biggest thing with that team is like, all right, like health wise, and can they all play together when actually healthy and together? Like, does Ingram and Zion, all those guys work?
I mean, doesn't their record show you though, even without some of those guys, that like most likely it's going to work? There's a lot of really good talent. I think someone like Zion obviously is still growing as he continues to play more consistently with his NBA minutes and understanding not only what he can do on the offensive end, especially against some of these NBA bigs, in the way that he's capable of just like getting around them and bullying through them. But then on the defensive end, we've seen those lazy defensive breakdowns for Zion. And I think those being exposed has kind of helped maybe change his mindset and what he needs to do for their entire team to be a better team defensively too.
For a team that hasn't been healthy, for them to be 16-8, Ingram's missed already 8 games. He's missed the last 4. I mean, Alvarado had the game the other night where he had 38 points, which that's just such a cool story.
I love it.
That guy plays so hard, and he's found a way to make it in the NBA. Then you got the Suns, who we talked about tonight. Memphis, Bane is still going to be out probably another 3 to 4 weeks. So, you know, it's they've got the talent. Then you go, the next one, the 4 seed's Denver. We just talked about them. Sacramento's 5. They're not winning a championship. Or Kevin Durant comes to Sacramento. Okay. Utah. So they won tonight. They beat Golden State at the buzzer in a crazy finish, but they've dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
Dallas, we mentioned them. Portland. The Clippers lost tonight to Orlando, and Kawhi and Paul George played in that game.
Damn.
And then the Warriors are at 13-13. I think the team that I look at with the Warriors right now at 10th spot, you know, at what point do they go, maybe we can move Kuminga, one of our young guys, and sacrifice a young guy in something to go get a more established piece that can help us now? Because you have to capitalize on this version of Steph Curry.
I agree. And in some ways I go, that's why. I understand their system is more built on, hey, let's develop from within. Let's develop these young guys and grow. And so then we can be this team that can have Steph Curry and lead some of these young guys so they understand how to play basketball at the highest level even when he's gone. But at the same time, you have these good young pieces that you have started to develop that you can actually get something back, something valuable back for, in my opinion, if you trade enough and put that around Steph Curry and capitalize on that. Because like we always say, it comes, it goes. And for the Warriors, they've had a lot of years where it's been here and it's been successful, but those have got to start slipping away.
And then the other team that started to get it together, they had won 7 of 10 going into last night, but now back-to-back losses, the Lakers. And, you know, you look at the stretch, it's been because Anthony Davis has been outrageous. I mean, you look at before last night, 55-17, 44-10, 27-12, 25-13, 25-15, 37-21, 30-18, 38-16, 37-18. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is a freak of nature. The thing we just always said is you can't always count on that. Now, he's missed the last couple, sick. It's a little different than being hurt.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, I mean, I can't imagine him keeping up the pace he's on now. That seems outrageous. But I still can't view them, even if they had it going with those guys as a championship contender. My whole point to this whole long diatribe about the Western Conference is there's clearly not a front runner at this point that anyone could be like, that's a team I buy into.
That's fine. That's fair. And yeah, I think sometimes we try and do that as sports fans, or you hear some national podcasts and they try to go, who are your top 5? And really it's like, can you actually pick your top 5 and be confident in that right now, 20 something games in? Because I can't. I watch a shit ton of Sacramento Kings basketball, but I'm watching other basketball games. I'm watching other teams in the Western Conference, and I just see so many games that are just up and down. So many players that play at such a high, crazy level, and then other games like, you look at the Suns game and it's just like a whole different world. So you just don't know what you're going to get, and there's a lot of great individual players out there, especially in the Western Conference right now. I mean, you mentioned Anthony Davis and him just being on an incredible tear. But yeah, there's not an entire team that I just feel confident in talking about being like, they're for sure.
It's so close right now. It's so close. In 1 week, you could feel one way, and the next you go, I actually don't know. But then I look at the East, and I'm like, the 2 best teams I have watched this year are the 2 teams at the top of the East. It's Boston and Milwaukee. And Milwaukee is just getting Chris Middleton back in the fold. The Celtics, Robert Williams is not even back yet.
I know.
So you start thinking about that, like those 2 teams right now, I think in the East are the teams.
And good for the Boston Celtics, not only because of everything that has gone on in the beginning of the season, but just them really showing that they could build off of what they accomplished last year.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things we talked about for them, especially late in the postseason, was conditioning. So what did they work on to be differently, or to do differently late in the season? Because we know they have the skill set. We know that they have the guys, but what's going to be that next step that they did take in the offseason? And maybe it was that.
Well, next up for the Kings, the team that's 3rd in the East, and that is the Cleveland Cavs.
Just another good team for the Kings to play.
And they're the team that just like going forward scares me the most for years if I'm in the NBA, just because I think Evan Mobley is ridiculous, and he's not even close to where he's going to be, I think. And you still have Mitchell in his prime. Garland's good. Jared Allen is just such a steady presence.
It's a
good team.
Yeah, there's a lot of good about it. Yeah, I'm happy for Mitchell because I just, we knew that he could play at such a high level, but playing with players that it seems like he likes that are also very super talented, it's just elevating his game to another level as well.
My poll question for the chat was this, Morgan. I'm curious to get the answer from you. What grade would you give the Kings tonight? A B, a C+, a C, or F? They lost.
Okay. Well, before we heard from Mike Brown, it would have been a C+, but I'll go with C.
What do you think Mike Brown would grade his team tonight, honestly?
He'd be like, I'd probably give them a D-.
You give him a D-?
They didn't
No,
they didn't fail,
I don't think he would.
But
I think he'd be like, well, we had 113. You got 113 points on the road. You had 8 turnovers, and you lost by 13. I think that's a C.
And then he goes, I don't care. They didn't match physicality. He said glorified pickup basketball defense. Like, it's definitely a D for Mike Brown. And he's not shitting on his team by saying that. He just is like, oh no, I know we're better than this. So D.
Our audience, we've got B and C+ tied for 33%, C at 18%, and F, they lost at 16%.
I love the choices that you gave.
Well, you only get 4 on YouTube, so it's just like, what would you have gone a different route?
No, and I just love that people were positive enough to be like B.
Doesn't that kind of look like your report card in school?
No Fs, but definitely the rest, sure.
What was your GPA?
C's get degrees. I was like a 3.5.
What?
Yeah.
You were a 3.5.
I was never like a 4.0.
I'm actually really impressed by
Really?
that.
I was probably on average throughout my I guess high school, probably 3.25.
I didn't try in high school.
Oh, I tried so hard. I'm such a slow reader.
Did I ever tell you though I graduated with honors in college?
Yeah, you mention it every.
No, I didn't know if I've ever mentioned that to you. I just
yeah.
wanted to.
No,
put that out
I'm
there.
so happy for you. Yeah, I was terrible with obviously math, and Science.
You're still terrible with math.
I know. Thanks, asshole. What was your GPA in high school?
Like 3.0.
Oh my God.
Oh, so there was one stretch. I don't know. Well, I can tell you actually. I think at the time I didn't understand, but like freshman year, that's when my dad went back to like prison.
Yeah.
I just did. There would be like times you had to read a book for a test. I didn't read the book. I just would like fill it in. I just didn't do. I literally did not. And I had a girlfriend. I was distracted, so that I just didn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all.
But I think late sophomore year, I hit a stride where I was like, okay, let's lock in. Because obviously IQ through the charts. In college, Morgan, it was just easy because I'm just like, this is I'm a little more mature now, responsibility.
College was not easy for me because I just wanted to focus on basketball and working, and that was just like my life.
What was the best thing that has happened to you so far this week?
Whoa. That's a random question. What day is it? Wednesday? So technically almost Thursday. Oh God. What? Oh, well, I don't know. Okay, I'll tell you this. So, you guys, get this. This is Michael Jordan's tequila, okay? You're like, why is this the best thing?
So it's old and bitter?
Hey-o. So I have like 3 besties, like 4 besties, right? And during basketball season, I don't even like connect with them or anything. And I was feeling disconnected, and they were in a book club and they didn't invite me. I have great friends. And I was like, hey, why can't I be invited? And they're like, because you do basketball and you don't have time for us. And I was like, well, I want to be invited. So they invited me. I read 2 books really quick. They were romance novels. They were absolutely awful. What?
I want to add something. You did not read the books.
Oh, Audible. So every time I was like going back and forth from San Francisco or whatever.
Listened.
Yeah.
You didn't read them.
No, I listened.
There is a difference.
Oh my God.
But go ahead.
Rude. So anyway, I did these 2 romance novels or whatever. So my whole point is yesterday there was a book club. I hosted the book club because all my friends, like they had all this stuff going on in their life, but don't worry. I just have like 2 grandmas dying and a funeral and like basketball. So yeah, I hosted a book club, but get this. When you host a book club, people bring you shit. You get presents and stuff when you host something at your home. And so my friend Taylor brought this, and she was like, how about you just put it on your podcast? It's Michael Jordan's tequila. Here you go. And a candle. I got that in a candle for hosting a book club and complaining about a book. How great is that? Probably the best thing that's happened to me all week.
Is that just are people doing book clubs like all the time now?
Who knows? I didn't even know it was a thing.
Is that like hey, I'm in my 30s, let's host a book club?
Why does that bother you though? That's how like, I guess adults connect maybe?
It's good. I'm not going to be negative about it.
Thank you.
At all. I mean, it just, yeah. No, that's fine.
What was the best thing in your week? It's Wednesday.
That's a good question.
You didn't think of one thing as I was telling you an
No,
entire story?
I was listening to your story. And I do think I think that's the one cool thing about as you get older. If you do hosting things it just sounds like, oh, it's such a chore.
People I don't know.
The worst part about hosting things, to be honest, is just like, I got to be honest, there's a certain point I just want people to leave.
Can I tell you what I did?
What?
I set my boundary and I said everyone out by 8:30.
You said everyone out at 8:30. How do you say that?
So
though? That's such a hard thing to say.
One of my besties, she's like one of the ones that started the book club. And I was like, hey, it's at my house, but can you kind of run like the conversation about the book club? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, but can you also tell everyone that they have to be out by 8:30 because I have to go to San Francisco for basketball the next day? And she was like, yeah, for sure. Everyone appreciated it. Adult women appreciate boundaries and being told, get the heck out of my house.
That's good.
I know.
That's good. And you got tequila, you got
and
wine
a candle.
and candles.
Yeah.
That's a win.
I know.
That's a win. Even if the book sucked, it was still a win.
I did have to spend money on the book. I had to spend money on food and like that stuff. But Oh, and we made little packages for our unhoused neighbors just all around Sacramento. That was another cool thing. We had a social worker book club reader, and she was like, yeah, let's make all these little baggies with like socks and deodorant, all these things, just essentials to give to obviously people who are
That's
just
cool.
living
You
out on the street.
only
right
do
now.
that during the holiday season because they don't need any other month.
They're
they don't need
to
anything.
be in your car to give out all throughout the year. You give out little Ziplocs all throughout the year.
Making them in December.
Oh my God!
Just saying, you better
Anyway,
hand those out in March. Hand those out in March. If don't be a fraud. Can I just say that real fast? All these charities around the holiday season.
True.
Hey, coach your kids, socks for whatever, blah blah blah.
Do it year round, baby.
What was the worst charity that was on Real Housewives?
Oh, homeless, not toothless.
Yes, some Real Housewife. What show?
Beverly Hills.
They held an event, a charity event for homeless, not toothless, to get homeless people
new smiles.
What? Is that like the worst name for a charity ever?
Stupidest thing. How about a roof over their head? And again, and I know even like the bags like don't solve all the issues, but it's like they're human. You got to help in some way or another. And I guess helping with a smile and confidence, sure, but just a terrible name for a charity.
Oh, man. We are going to be live again on Friday night. Another late night one. We'll be live following the Kings and Cavs. Hopefully the beam will be lit that night.
And if so, and it's a Friday night, I'm kidding. This staying back there because it's really cool.
All right. Well, we love you guys, but we got to go.
You all have a wonderful rest of your night. Thanks so much for being here. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you